Global markets remain on tenterhooks as fears around Credit Suisse failing keep the traders on the edge. Credit Suisse will borrow around $54 billion from the Swiss Central Bank to shore up short-term liquidity. Asian markets trade lower by 0.5 to 1.5%.
The market comes off the day's low, but the Nifty remains under the 17,000 mark. A rush to safety props up consumer stocks while metals remain under pressure.
JP Morgan's Jahangir Aziz doesn't see Credit Suisse failing and expects the Fed to stick to a 25 basis points rate hike next week. The bank's Asia-Pacific head of research, James Sullivan, says that India is now looking attractive from a medium-term point of view.
The Abu Dhabi Investment Authority invests $500 million in Lenskart. Titan gains on the back of an expected rub-off on its eye care business valuations. Motherson falls 11% after promoter Sumitomo Wiring Systems sells 3.4% stake in multiple block deals.
Patanjali falls over 4% as exchanges freeze the promoter shares due to the company failing to meet the minimum public shareholding norms. Patanjali tells CNBC-TV18 that it will become compliant as promoters plan to sell 6% stake over the next few months. Hello and welcome. You've tuned into Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar, and with me as always is my co-anchor Pavitra Parekh. So Pavitra, it's yet another day of red tick on our screen at the moment, and there is a lot of contagion effect that the market is really anticipating globally, as well as the effect of that in India, and therefore you see a red tick on the market at the moment, a Nifty 50 below 17,000 levels, and this is after October last year, and 16,967 odd levels at the moment, flattish in trade right now. Bank Nifty has been the underperformer at the moment, still flattish to red in its trajectory, as well as the mid caps also holding on to similar levels. When we talk about the advance decline ratio, well, the advances are far lower than the decline, so the market sentiment has been on the weaker side. But on the other hand, some of the green ticks are being seen from the PSUs, companies like BPCL, even some of the consumer companies which are not doing well yesterday are doing good in trade. So Titan, Nestle, as well as Hindustan Unilever, Tata Consumer, all showing good momentum in trade today, Pavitra.
Oh, absolutely. Those are the few stocks which are trading in the green, but take a look at the metals pack because that is where a bulk of the pain is coming through today. It's a near 3% cut that we're seeing on the Nifty Metal Index. So do keep that on your radar. These are some of the larger names. Even if you take a look at something like a JSPL, Vedanta, NMDC, across the board actually for the metals pack, take a look at that. JSPL is down 5%. So you are seeing this pressure only build in that space. The tech stocks, so take a look at those because that is also under pressure today. So you have Infosys, Wipro. These are some of the larger losers as well that are up on your screen. On the flip side, like Nisha pointed out, some of the consumer stocks holding up, but it's also the oil impact playing out, right? We had crude see a 5% dip overnight. So, of course, we're seeing that usual kind of move on ONGC, Oil India. Those ones are lower, but the oil refiners, so that you have HPCL, BPCL, IOC, which are gaining. And, of course, the paint companies also doing well on the back of the fact that oil prices have seen a big drop. So, that's what's really going on with the market right now. By the way, as we speak, the sensex is just moved back into the green. So, it's a...
Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch, and news flash on your screen, and take a look at Zee Entertainment stock, and that is really buzzing in trade. In fact, since morning it has been buzzing in trade and now has perked up on this news that Zee is set to repay Indocent $10 million. Now, remember that the entire context in which Zee and Sony are in the merger completion, There are various stages of that approval that is required. And what really happened in the last 2 months is that Zee had gone to NCLT for the final approval of the Sony merger. And at that time, IndusInd, along with some of the other banking companies like even Axis Financial, had raised a concern about the dispute of repayment as well as guarantee that is owed by Zee Entertainment to other group company debts. And this is the in regards with this, IndusInd Bank had taken this matter and also called for insolvency of Zee, which was later also stalled by NCLAT, and the next hearing is slotted on 29th of March. So in summation, Zee was on the verge of insolvency if they did not pay the guarantees that were owed to IndusInd Bank because of the group company debt. And that is one of the big issues that is set to be probably resolved, is what Bloomberg News is suggesting. And $10 million as part of that settlement of that guarantee could be given to IndusInd Bank by Zee, as Bloomberg reports, and that could really give a lot of clarity on the Zee's merger process with Sony also, which is extremely important for this particular company, and also to avert the insolvency, which the matter which is lying with NCLAT, and 29th March is the next hearing. So that is the matter that we are looking at the moment. The stock is up almost over 5.5% in trade, and this is important, Pavitra, from the point of view of Zee's shareholders who have been waiting for this entire merger process to really go through. It's been over a year since they have been working on first CCI clearance, NCLT clearance, and then there will be other regulatory clearances along with the exchanges also giving them the clearance. But NCLT clearance extremely important, and with this particular guarantee being resolved, hopefully NCLT approval could be closer for them.
Oh, absolutely. And, in fact, Bloomberg is also saying that this deal and the repayment of dues could come through as early as Friday. So definitely a big positive for the stock there. Remember, when the news initially broke that, Nisha was referring to earlier, the stock had seen around a 15% drop. So this is coming as good news, of course, for Zee Entertainment. But let's move on from this now, because another important story is that construction activity at Noida International Airport is in full swing. The airport is expected to begin operations by the end of 2024. So we have Danish Anand, who visited the site to check in on the progress so far.
Well, the National Capital Region is all set to get its second international airport, and currently we are present at the construction site of the Noida International Airport. And as you can see behind me, this particular structure that is being constructed right now is the first terminal as per the concession agreement. This is the phase 1 of Terminal 1. And if we talk about how big this area is spread across over 1 lakh square kilometer. And let me tell you, the work at the site began 9 months ago, and within the 9 months we are seeing that a lot of development has happened. All the deep excavation activities, they have been completed. Over 2,600 workers have been deployed at the 1,330 hectare site, and the peak strength is expected to hit 6,000 as construction of other phases begins. In the past 9 months, it has taken a collective 4.2 million man-hours to sink key foundations of the terminal and other key buildings. 32,000 cubic meters of concrete have been poured so far, and 14,000 tons of steel have been used. Christopher Sneelman, the CEO of Noida International Airport, says construction is on track and the first phase will be ready by the end of 2024 as scheduled. He also does not expect any cost overrun.
Yes, the construction for the phase 1 airport is on track. And we're underway to deliver the airport, to open the airport by the end of 2024. We're working on the runway across its entire length of 3,900 meters, and we expect to commence with test flights 4 to 6 months before the airport opens for operations, so first half of next year. Aviation in India is poised for further growth, and we're in talks with all of the carriers in India. The interest is great, and the construction contracts, the EPC contracts that we've awarded to Tata Projects were awarded on a fixed price and fixed time basis, so we don't anticipate any further cost increase due to inflation or raw material cost increases.
What you're seeing behind me right now is the construction of the first runway, which will be called the North Runway. When the entire construction activity at this airport will get completed, then this will have two different runways. But talking about the Northern Runway, this will be almost 1,300 meters in length, and by the time when the fourth and the final phase of the Noida International Airport gets constructed, then we will see that both the runways will cater to a heavy air traffic movement in the northern part of the country, and we can also expect Noida International Airport to be one of the prominent hubs for airlines in the times to come. With video journalist Nitin Trivedi, this is Danish Anand for CNBC-TV18.
All right, our colleague Danish there reporting. With that, we'll slip into a short breather on Business Lunch, but we'll get you more news and updates of the day on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. You're still tuned into Business Lunch here on CNBC TV18. It is absolutely flat for the Nifty right now, just around 6 points in the red. We've seen, once again a move higher and trying to break into the green. But so far, every time there's been that recovery, or at least an attempt at a recovery, we've seen a pullback extremely quickly. The Nifty Bank right now also seeing a 60-point cut. So, I mean, that is something to watch. The space where there's been no recovery at all is the metal space. It's actually only fallen further. So, Hindalco is the top loser now with a 5% cut that we've seen. The entire metal index in itself is down over 3%. But that's what's happening with the market. So, let's move on to something lighter for now.
Powered by Federal Bank, your perfect